interesting timing with the release of the JFK files because, well, what you find out is that, because as I said in my last video, the CIA and the mob were protecting our interests. Look, I'll take the American mafia over radical Islam any day, because the mafia did protect America. They also protected themselves, but they did. Fidel Castro's regime played a significant role in training individuals from the Middle East. Particularly during the 60s and 70s, Cuba's intelligence agency, the DGI, trained Palestinian militants both in Cuba and the Middle East. Hundreds of Palestinian fighters associated with groups like the Palestinian Liberation Organization, I've talked about them, received guerrilla and terrorist training under Cuban supervision. This included collaboration in PLO camps in Lebanon and support for anti-imperialist movements across the region. Cuba also provided military assistance to countries like Algeria after its independence and supported movements such as the Polisario Front in Western Sahara. Castro's involvement in these efforts, well, it was because he was anti-imperialist ideology and his alignment with revolutionary causes. So, when you see this, or you see the Whitney Webbs carrying on about the Palestinians, oh no, you know what? It's time to shut those people down. It is. It is. Look at what has happened to Europe. That Europe has fallen. They literally in parts of Europe are implementing Sharia law. For people that don't know, Sharia law is the most horrible thing. It's horrible to women. It's really, so these people, they're communists. So Marco Rubio, what, he can't defend deporting I don't care. If they decide that these people need to be removed, they need to, and Jimmy Dore can, if he wants to go live under communism, then, he can move to these countries. It says here from some of the documents, the training and the communications and technical assistance they require. In essence, Castro tells would-be revolutionaries from other Latin American countries, come to Cuba, we will pay your way, we will train you in underground organization techniques. Yeah, we've seen that a lot, haven't we? In guerrilla warfare, in sabotage, and in terrorism. We will see to it that you get back to your homeland. Once you are there, we will keep in touch with you, give you propaganda support, send you propaganda materials for your movement, training aids to expand your guerrilla force, secret communication methods, and perhaps funds and specialized demolition equipment. Castro is not, I can't see part of it because of the recording, something we know, promising these other Latin Americans any Cuban weapons or Cuban personnel. You can see the rest. So, the moral of the story is the CIA with the mafia was actually protecting America's interests. And these people that run around and say they care so much about people, and they care about the people in Palestine, they just don't care about anybody. They're just communists. I mean, that's why Whitney Webb lives in Chile. Yeah, they were tied to this too, interestingly enough. So this was all going on in the 60s and 70s. So then think of what it is now, because they train them, send them back to their countries, then they go on to train others. So Marco Rubio probably has a good reason why he wants to deport. That's why I don't want to hear any more from these people. I just don't. There's been Whitney Webb has gone after the CIA in every way she can. Yet, and I'm not saying they're perfect. I mean, their psychological warfare is, like that kind of shit is not good, right? It's not good, the shit they were doing. But during the Cold War, like, you need to recognize that, well, we would have been already in trouble without them. Something happened along the way. Did they sell out? Did we get a? I mean, I think it's very simple that, the mob, because they're the underworld, they'll go and kill somebody in another country for this, if it would. And you can look at it like it was in our best interest. The mob has never been out to hurt America, like hurt America's values. I hate to say it that way because, it's the mob. But they do have their own, twisted sort of value system in a way. They do, operate by, they do have a loyalty code. A part of that, and I'm talking about your American mafia. Not that I support them, but again, I would take them over any Islamist radical bullshit any day. In fact, I would be more than happy to, recruit the mafia, those that are out there, to take care of this radical problem. If we get, well, we're heading in that direction. I think Donald Trump will take care of it. But realize it all goes back to this stuff. So, I guess I don't have a lot of sympathy for Kennedy because of the tactics he used, and because, you could maybe make some, he's been put on a pedestal, the whole family has, as the Camelot family, which I've always found to be bullshit, and I also think it's bullshit. Look, let me back up here. Let's look at it. You know how Trump's taken over the Kennedy Center, and he's the chairman of the board now? Didn't anybody sit back and think, why would he do that? Why do you think? A lot of propaganda through using art and all of that. And it's not like the Kennedys have really, in my opinion, really been on the right side of America to begin with. And I've mentioned that Airlift to America, which brought Kenya students here, and the Kennedy Foundation paid for it. Kennedy wasn't even president yet. So if you look at it from the CIA's, like, I'm just looking the other way. Is it wrong? Yeah, but so is what Kennedy did was wrong too. And I'm sorry, nobody talk. They rave about Airlift to America. If you go on like YouTube and look it up, and you go like to the Kennedy Library or whatever, they'll say how great and wonderful this thing. It's like, no, you literally brought people here against the State Department's request, and he was a senator, and you paid for it because you were Kennedys. Why don't you think the Kennedys ever really, why didn't they make a big deal about the records coming out anyway? They knew. They earned this big title, and I've not yet to this day found anybody that has much out of the mob that has a lot of respect for the Kennedys. Because that's sort of like, what did you think was going to happen? That you were going to be made into a hero after you used the mob to get into your seat, and then you go after the mob and the CIA, and the CIA uses the very people that helped you get in? Because CIA was using the Chicago outfitters to help they were training the Cuban exiles. They were training them to resist Castro. The Chicago outfit was. Yeah. They were, both the CIA and the Chicago outfit was working in America's interest. And what did Kennedy do? Came in and started going after them, both of them. So do you really think that Kennedy was ever on the side of America? No. But he's been propagandized to us that he has been the Camelot and, he did such great things. No. He was no good from the beginning, in my opinion.